Before I formed you in the womb I knew you,
in the womb,
before you were born I set you apart,
I
appointed you as a prophet to the nations. These were the overwhelming words spoken by the Lord Almighty to a young, hesitant man in the small priestly town of Anathoth. It was a time of spiritual dark decay, political unrest, and deep hypocrisy within the kingdom of Judah. The people had turned their backs on the God of their fathers, embracing idols, injustice, and moral corruption.
Hear us, O mighty
Yet,
one.
when God called young Jeremiah to stand against the tide of his generation, the youth trembled and replied, "Ah, sovereign Lord, I do not know how to speak, I am too young." But the Lord answered him, "Do not say, I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you." Then the Lord reached out his hand, touched Jeremiah's mouth, and said, "I have put my words in your mouth." From that monumental moment, Jeremiah's life was forever changed. He did not seek the heavy mantle of a prophet, nor did he desire a life of conflict and solitude. Yet, for over 40 long, painful years, spanning the reigns of Josiah, Jehoahaz, Jehoiakim, and Zedekiah, Jeremiah stood as an unyielding herald of divine truth. He became known to history as the weeping prophet, not because he was weak, but because his heart was broken by the same things that broke the heart of God. He carried the heavy burden of declaring judgment to a people he deeply loved, knowing they were walking headlong into their own destruction. With tears streaming down his face, he wailed, "Oh, that my head were a spring of water and my eyes a fountain of tears. I would weep day and night for the slain of my people." While the false prophets of the day tickled the ears of the kings and citizens, falsely proclaiming peace, safety, and prosperity, Jeremiah was commanded to speak the uncomfortable, uncompromising truth. He warned that judgment was swiftly approaching from the north in the form of the powerful Babylonian Empire, led by King Nebuchadnezzar. He pleaded with the nation of Judah to turn away from their idols, abandon their oppressive ways, and return to the Lord with all their heart before the cup of divine wrath overflowed. "Return, faithless Israel, declares the Lord, I will frown on you no longer, for I am faithful." But the response of Jerusalem was bitter hatred and outright rebellion. The religious leaders and political elite hardened their hearts. They mocked Jeremiah, labeled him a traitor, beat him severely, and put him in the stocks at the upper gate of Benjamin to suffer public shame. The emotional and physical toll on Jeremiah was crushing. There were moments when the overwhelming isolation and continuous rejection brought him to the absolute brink of despair. In his rawest moments of grief, he cursed the day he was born and questioned why he had to endure such relentless suffering. Deep within his soul, he considered walking away from his calling altogether, swearing to never speak in the name of the Lord again. Yet, the divine mandate was impossible to contain. Jeremiah confessed, "If I say, I will not mention his word, or speak any more in his name, his word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in, indeed, I cannot." The truth of God was a burning flame that consumed him from within, driving him back to the streets and temple courts day after day. As the shadow of Babylon grew larger and the threat of invasion became an imminent reality, the hostility toward Jeremiah reached a dangerous climax. During the reign of King Zedekiah, the princes of Judah accused Jeremiah of treason, claiming that his prophecies were weakening the morale of the soldiers defending the city. They demanded his death. King Zedekiah, a weak and indecisive ruler, surrendered Jeremiah into their hostile hands. The nobles took the prophet and lowered him with ropes into the deep, dark cistern of Malchijah, located in the courtyard of the guard. The cistern contained no water, only thick, cold mud, and Jeremiah sank deep into the mire. Left in the darkness to starve to death, abandoned by the nation he spent his life trying to save, the prophet's voice seemed finally silenced in the depths of the earth. Yet, God had not abandoned his servant. In the royal palace, an Ethiopian court official named Ebed-Melech heard of the injustice done to Jeremiah. Boldly approaching King Zedekiah, Ebed-Melech confronted the king, declaring that the men had acted wickedly in throwing the prophet into the cistern to die. Moved by this plea, the king ordered Ebed-Melech to take 30 men and rescue Jeremiah. Showing great compassion, Ebed-melech used old rags and worn-out clothes under the rope so they wouldn't cut into Jeremiah's bruised skin, gently pulling the frail prophet out of the mud. Though Jeremiah remained confined to the courtyard of the guard, his life was spared, and he continued to speak the word of the Lord until the end. The day of tragedy that Jeremiah had warned about for 4 decades finally arrived in 586 before Christ. The siege of Jerusalem reached its catastrophic end. King Nebuchadnezzar's armies breached the mighty walls of the holy city. Panic swept through the streets as fire consumed the royal palaces and the magnificent temple built by King Solomon was burned to ashes. The city was completely laid waste, its walls tore down, and the majority of the surviving population was dragged away in chains into Babylonian captivity. Jeremiah watched in agony as the prophecies God had given him unfolded before his very eyes. Standing amid the smoldering ruins and the dusty silent streets of his beloved Jerusalem, the prophet sat down and wept, composing the heartbreaking elegies known as the Book of Lamentations. How deserted lies the city, once so full of people. She who was great among the nations has now become a slave. Yet, even in the absolute darkest chapter of Israel's history, amid the ashes of judgment, Jeremiah's divine message did not end in utter despair. God did not abandon his people forever. Through the tears of judgment, the Lord gave Jeremiah a glorious vision of future redemption and hope. God promised that after 70 years of exile in Babylon, he would bring a remnant back to their land. Even more profound was the promise of a new covenant. The Lord declared, "The days are coming when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with Judah. I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they will be my people. No longer will they teach their neighbor, 'Know the Lord,' because they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest." Through Jeremiah, God sent a letter to the captives in Babylon, urging them to build houses, plant gardens, marry, and seek the peace of the city where they were exiled. He gave them the famous promise that has echoed down through the centuries, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." Jeremiah's life stands as an enduring testament of unyielding faithfulness, radical obedience, and deep compassion. He was a lone voice crying out in the wilderness of a rebellious world, a loyal servant who wept with God over a fallen nation, reminding humanity that even in judgment, divine mercy and love will always have the final word.